How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Mm, well, I really have a plan today. I'll be honest. I was just eating something. Well, essentially, there's something that's been bothering me, right? And that's has just not been bothering me. I think it's stopping, or the level of being bothered is being reduced by the day because of stoicism. Now, I'm not saying go out and preach stoicism and just follow it to the day you die or whatever and whatnot, right? What I'm saying is, I I didn't know too much about stoicism. I mean, I knew what it was, the philosophies. I had a rough idea, but I think there's this guy. So I stumbled on his reels. I don't know if he's called Richmond or Raymond or Richard. It's a white guy, and he talks about stoicism, and he's been, I think, practicing stoicism for a long time, and he's trying to like be as stoic as possible. But I think it's hard because stoicism is very fundamentally un it's very fundamentally anti-narcissistic. It's more realistic and at the same time appreciative of reality. And when I think about stoicism, it agrees really well with me because it has reasoning behind it. Inherently, I'm a very logical person, so when someone tells me something, especially when it has emotions behind it, I necessarily just I just think about it as noise. But when you potentially give me a logic behind something, I get by. Like, for example, the biggest thing that was bothering me with relationships was always 10 out of 10 times body count, and at the same time it was virginity and everything. But for me, because I always practiced this by religion, right? I stopped being, I always thought, that's my standard. If I'm practicing it, I want my wife to practice it, etc. Because it's all that. And I came to a conclusion because of a stoic. I think it was, I don't know who Marcus Aurelius said it, or who Mark Aurelius, or which stoic philosopher said it, but he said self discipline is not about enforcing your standards upon others. It's about adhering to your own standards set by you. Because your job isn't to enforce or project your standards upon someone else. It's about you following your own standards and living and abiding by them. That's what self discipline's all about. And that's all you can do, you know. And it made sense because this whole time, right, I've always been looking at this from a very narrow view in the sense where, I mean, I still think the same that, factually, scientifically, a woman or a man who's very promiscuous or has a very rough past is always going to be deep down you know is going to be a much worse partner than someone who's not, because of the vast experiences that they've had. Their mind becomes very wired to that. They sort of lose the same amount of feelings and emotional kick they get out of something. And it's just the way it is, right? At the same time, there's a plethora of degenerate stuff people do behind the scenes that no one knows about, that I'm not going to go into. But I think what I realized was, right, it's just I got so embroiled in my own I got so much into my own head that I just started ruining my own life over this. What I mean by that is I was losing countless hours of sleep. Not like I was being bothered by it to the point where it was being affected by me, right? And that's where when it stops becoming a standard and it becomes more of a curse, right? And that stoic quote really has helped me in the past 2 days because I've just realized it's not about me being desperate. It's not about me being that. It's just because if I think about it very retroactively, right? Like there's 80 years of life. I don't know what I'm going to do in a couple years. I don't know how I'm going to perceive a person in a couple years. I don't know if I'm going to adhere to my same standards in a couple years. So there's no point in me projecting my standard onto someone and enforcing it. Rather, I should adhere to all the standards I decide on myself and be the best version I can of myself and live my life objectively rather than opinionatedly. Because if I associate an opinion onto every single thing I do, I'm just gonna stay in the past and have my feet stuck in the mud, right? Fear has its place, but a fear founded on pure opinion has no place. An objective fear is always gonna be a real fear, but an opinionated fear is just gonna be noise. And when I thought about this whole thing, and when I thought about, okay, how does that extrapolate into the type of woman I'm looking for? Look, I'm still looking for a woman who's objectively going to be the best partner for myself. And I'm a very like already I think already I was wired really well for following stoicism, but because I'm not extremely emotional. But for me, I think like, if I now let go of that whole idea that I need someone to be one to one with my standard, then it's gonna make my life much easier because now I'm going beyond a specific standard. Like, you know, these value based standards, right? These value based standards, they're good to have. And the whole point of me being following them is because I believe in the idea of having self restraint and self discipline. Now, who would I be compatible with? Would I be also compatible with someone who has self discipline? I probably would. But at the same time, I can't enforce those standards upon someone else and expect them to be. What I mean by that is there might be two girls in front of me. One might have that one standard with respect to values, and they're virgin, they've never had a relationship, but might just not be intellectually for me. Whereas another person might not be a virgin because they've been in a relationship, but they might be um, intellectually what I exactly need. So that the point is, as a person, what do I value more? And look, after marriage, it's not like we're gonna be like it's not like we're gonna stay virgins, right? That state will always change for me and for them. But for a long time, it's always gonna be the type of conversations we have. Now, does that mean I'm on board with everybody? No, what that simply means is I think I've learned to accept the fact that, it's my standard might not my standard is something I shouldn't enforce upon someone else. I should rather be looking at it objectively rather than in an opinionated way. Now, does that now open doors to the idea that I must marry someone who's a hooker, a prostitute as well? Like, if I have a very good conversation with a prostitute, then does that mean I should end up marrying a prostitute? And some people do, and they're okay with that whole idea. And if that's what you believe in, yes, go for it. But no, it means what this whole idea means is the weight of me just constantly thinking about just keeping that on the forefront and letting anything else go, as in the woman's personality, whatnot. Do we have anything in common? Do we have things to talk about? Like, do they have more than just this? Now I can at least start focusing on that. Now, does that mean that I'm gonna accept a girl who's been in a relationship and has like a sex tape on fucking any porn site? Probably not. But it just means that they've had a relationship. They had a relationship that it broke. Obviously, I'll have questions. There's gonna be factual questions. Again, I'm a very science-based individual. If let's say their relationship broke because of I'm always curious as to how people's relationships break because forming a relationship's not a joke, so breaking it shouldn't be a joke either. That means there must be something concrete there that breaks someone's relationship. So for me, I've always been curious about what is it that forces people to split apart? Like, do they not talk about specific things before when they start dating or wanting to be with each other? So, for me, I'm always curious about that front, and if I can get that information and it seems fine and everything looks good, then sure. But at least now the weight has sort of gone from my shoulder, where I'm just like kind of boxed in. I'm not boxed in anymore. At least I don't feel boxed in now. Does this mean I'm gonna fully like like does this mean there's a chance, like does this mean this will never come back, as in this way of like my mind won't come back to haunt me? I don't know. My mind very well may come back to haunt me um tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, whenever. But what I know is that if now, based on the way I am, if I know someone and I think they're the right person for me, I think I can at least now proceed with wanting to even potentially establish a relationship. So I think that's where I'm at right now, and I think Stoicism at least helped me understand that. That one line where it said, self-discipline is about setting your own standard on yourself and following it rather than enforcing it upon others, right? Like, you shouldn't force your opinions or force your habits and what you believe in and what you choose to do with your life upon others, right? That's their job. So, for me personally, when all of this happened, and when I heard that line, they said you should practice self-discipline. Like, again, I could be butchering this very well. Like, I could be butchering the stoic philosophy, but it was along the lines of, like, your standards are your alone, so enforce them upon yourself. And these aren't standards like body type standards, because those are hard. Like, how can you enforce a body type standard on yourself? Like, as in, if you like women that are ethnically, let's say, Latina, then how can you enforce that upon yourself? Like, you're not a woman. So these are, I think, stoicism is all about the mind. So these are also mind standards. So whether or not someone values promiscuity and shit like that, they come more into, because you have to, like, again, virginity is, I guess, more of a mental bridge you have to cross. Like, you have to mentally be okay with losing it and proceeding with it, and you also have to be mentally okay to accept someone who's a virgin, not virgin, etc., etc. So I think that's when that said, like, you should be forcing self-discipline upon yourself, not others. And if you have a standard that you believe in, that's what I think, that's what stoicism wanted to, that's what stoicism meant. At least with that, that's what that stoic philosophy meant, in my opinion. And I personally think as a great one. It saved me, at least right now. Like, the way it is all right now, the way I think about things right now, I think it really has helped me, because, like, for example, me, I'm going on a date tomorrow, right? And I think partially I was interested in the person was like, I'm not really interested in the person, but I saw the person was, religious and all that, and for me I was like, you know what? Maybe. But at the same time, I know that person and I aren't it, because there's some trademarkers in the person, like, they're very outgoing and all that, and I feel like I can't keep up. My standards that I set are purely value based. Like, the standards that I've set, like, I don't necessarily discriminate on, like, I don't discriminate based on people's heights necessarily and all that and all that. Like, those are separate. You like what you like, but what I'm talking about here is pure value based standards that I've enforced upon myself, such as I'm not gonna sleep with a woman before I get committed and all that XYZ whatnot. So for me personally, um, the way I see it, I personally have I personally I'm now more okay with the idea that, yeah, it is what it is, and I'm gonna practice discipline upon myself, and we'll see where life takes me. But and that's just what my faith is all about. And if I find the right person intellectually who pleases me, then sure, so be it. If not, then such is life. But I think that part of that philosophy from Stoicism has helped me at least digest it a bit more. Cause it's all about being able to digest something, right? Because now I'm at least able to be at peace, and I think that was the key thing here. Because I don't want to lose sleep over something. You know, I don't think it's worth it. So I might have butchered the whole, the like you know what? I might have butchered everything with respect to how, if I was to go to Stoicism, see, Stoicism's all about logic, right? It's all about logic. It's very logical based. Now, is life everything? Is everything gonna be able to be run by logic? Probably not. But ultimately, it is what it is. You know. But I think Stoics, like, not everything would you. Not everything are you gonna always apply Stoicism with. A wise person knows when to not apply Stoicism, but when to apply it. But virtue is key. Like virtue really does come through, and if you're living with virtue, you're gonna live a very you're gonna live a very exceptionally good life, like a very exceptionally strong life. And in my opinion, obviously sorry if this video is very butchered, but it's very hard to get all these thoughts in one place because I'm trying to explain in a way where I want people to see what I felt when I heard it. And it's just that I've always been very big on virtue, and finally now I understand. It's like I only control myself and the virtue I have, not others. Now, does that mean I should willy nilly accept anyone who's not virtuous? No, what virtue fundamentally comes in different ways. It's just that everybody has a different degree to which they can follow virtue, and if and it's like you have to if you want to be stoic, or if you want to if you want to live a normal and forward life, you have to understand that your virtue is your virtue all alone. As long as you know you're virtuous and you can stand in front of God and you know that you were virtuous, that's all that matters. Because, again, like I said, it's all fate based. At least that's what Stoics think, and that's what I've been believing too in fate, because I'm religious. So, like, if everything is subject to fate, then I shouldn't necessarily enforce my standard upon other. Rather, I should just have the discipline, follow my path, and if the reality that will befall me is something that I necessarily does not necessarily adhere about my standards, then so be it. But that's just what my life has is what's supposedly going to come to. So it's all good. Whatever happens happens for a reason. But your job is to keep walking a path and living with your virtue and living objectively. So for me, I hope I'm a bit at peace right now, and I don't know how long this is gonna go, but all in all, I hope this all goes well. I think me personally, it should be good, but I hope this video, no matter how shitty it was made, right? This video I made, I hope this helps someone who probably is thinking the same way, because I know many guys have this conflicted thought on because I honestly understand it's our it's our carnal desire to be territorial, where when you think about your wife or your girlfriend having past relationships with tons of men, we get very territorial because someone technically has entered our territory. it's not necessarily you're objectifying it. Your animal instincts just kick in. It's just the way men, men were always like territorial. Men are always territorial. Um, but I believe this can help ease your burden a bit, because at the end of the day, man, um, there's many territories that are always going to be invaded. But at the end of the day, you know, um, it's up to you if you let your mind go astray and let that territory be completely taken over, or you forgo that territory altogether, or you try to keep that territory, you know, together. And there's a time and place. If let's say that territory is completely barren and is useless, at times you have to let it go. But if there's something there that you know is of value, and you know that there's, it has its quirks, but you can, you have the resolve to manage it and move forward with it, then more power to you. That's all I'll say. But always look at it objectively and live a solid life. Don't compromise on anything, you know. Like I said, it's yours and yours alone. So if today you don't want to lose your virginity, and stick to it because you have something that ties you down, and you don't want to give it up, then that's your strength. Be the virtue. You follow your own virtue. If tomorrow you feel like, no, I want to have fun, have sex, do it, because that's your right. The whole point is to live life objectively and make sure that you follow your fate through, no matter what the call, no matter what externally people are on about, right? That's, your own life. You live your own life, you and you alone, and whatever happens will always happen to you, not anyone else. So do that. Um, Live in accordance with nature, and hopefully you'll live a better life. And I hope this video helps someone else. I'll try to maybe make a bit more a philosophical balance video because this one was a cappella. Maybe before next video that I make, I'll make it more structured. But I hope this video did help someone. It's too long. I'm gonna end it here. Thank you. Bye.